So today, the topic is pandemic funding related compliance audit. And nobody likes to be audited, trust me. And even though we're in business of helping you to get through the audit, I don't want you to get audited. I don't care. Even if I have no business, I don't want anybody to be audited because it's not fun. But we need to understand this whole area of governmental practice so you know what to prepare and take away the fear and just start doing the right thing, right? No responsibility disclaimer, seriously. So you need to do study. I did my study. This is my understanding. Hopefully it's helpful. If you have any questions, you can either contact our firm or you can look up on your own and check with your CPA and get the problem questions answered. Okay, now let's do this. What are the pandemic related governmental fundings? And I'm here more for the business folks, right? So SBA PPP 1 and 2, SBA EIDL loan, RF, and also the Shattered Venue Operation Grant, and ERC, and Paid Leave Credit, and the state revenue. And those are related. State revenue also give money, right? Like in Minnesota, they give out $35,000 from deed to the startup companies. And in Iowa, they give $25,000 coronavirus release fund. So those are the state revenue, state funds that give out. So those are governmental funding. And talk about compliance related audit. And these are the people who would come, who would march to your door and wanting to audit you. SBA, yes, SBA. Never heard of that? Of course. Prior to pandemic, there's not a lot of SBA deals, but this pandemic had given so much work to SBA. They send out so many money to so many businesses. Every business is in their hand. So SBA, yes, they will audit you. And of course, the bank. The bank is the one hand over the PPP loan to you. So they will be assisting SBA to audit you. And of course, if you're receiving more than $2 million, equal or more $2 million grants, PPP money, you're automatically being audited, okay? IRS, of course, gonna audit you. You know, the ERC credit we're talking about, that's IRS money. And IRS also audit you for assisting SBA. And the DOL, that is Department of Labor. They, of course, audit you because they are the one to make sure we're in compliance with labor law. And now with your payroll becoming part of the thing for the governmental assistance, like PPP is based on payroll, right? ERC is based on payroll, and that payroll record need to be in accordance with what DOL is looking at, wanting to make sure you pay the minimum wage, people are paid properly, all of that is intertwined. The government are one entity. They're intertwined, coming down to the fact that they want to audit you, they're on the same side. So even though you on the news you always hear the state government, disagree with whatever federal is doing, it's like they're running their little country. But come down to audit, every government is on the same side. They want to make sure that you're in compliance. If you violated one thing, all the other government has a right to know. So they will be informed, and the more audit would come. So it just says that it's not even worth of trying to do anything that is not by the rules. So here I want to point out the compliance related audit is endless and is bigger than ever. So this is what's going to happen post pandemic. Now let's look at PPP loan. PPP loan audit is most apparent right now because this is started like last year, right? So now by this time, the government is already kind of regrouped themselves and understand PPP, start to audit you. There's so many stories now about the PPP fraud. There's some people are just doing unbelievable things. For example, someone got the PPP with a fake company information, okay? also there's legitimate business owners, but spending PPP money on luxury car. And what are you thinking? That PPP money is meant to pay payroll, right? So those kind of audit, we call that compliance audit. And the SBA will come to your door, goes, show me how you spend PPP dollars. That is why we have been telling our client that make sure you put PPP money in separate bank account. So when you spend it, and you spend it right there, so it's so easy to tell. And you had a PPP money and you spend it on payroll, utility, rent, all of these, compliant spending. They're not something that we bought some luxury cars out of this PPP funds, right? And PPP money, PPP loan audit is also assisted by the bank and also assisted by IRS. Because remember, when you apply for PPP, you have to, especially on the second PPP, you need to demonstrate the revenue, right? The drop of the revenue. What is that? That is sales. What is that? That's IRS's job. IRS want to make sure that your income is right, and so that they can prove that, yeah, PPP dollar is supposed to be given. So with all of that, again, I want to tell you that the compliance audit is not by one government entity. It is the government overall has for small businesses, okay? Of course, I'm talking about small businesses because you guys are my client, and I don't serve GM and I don't serve Microsoft, so I don't know what they're doing. And I bet you that they have a whole department of people and, working on meeting the audit requirement. And the bigger the company is, generally speaking, I'm not saying all of them, but generally speaking, when the company is bigger, those internal controls, the standards would be followed by a group of people. So it has a better chance to be compliant. But of course, if you have a leadership like Enron, then from the top to the bottom, they're cheaters. And then your whole organization is actually going down the drain, right? So that's what happened to Enron. So now, other than PPP, EIDL loans, and you're getting that loan. And I don't think that, I'm just getting loans so I can use it for anything, everything. No, you cannot. You can only use it for the following items, which, you can choose that. You can use for operating expense, okay? You can use that for account payable. So let's say pandemic happened, you owe a whole bunch of money and your payable is huge. You can use EIDL loan to pay payable, okay? Payable is not loan payable. Loan payable belongs to liability long-term, and so they are not payable. Payable is operational dollars like supplies, and the payable to community CPA, the invoice that you hasn't paid, that's payable, but not like your loans from your building or something like that. And the rent, utilities, okay. Merchant account, okay. And the bookkeeping accounting service, look, they even list that for you, because at this time, if I have to say that, during the pandemic, what's becoming obviously more important, folks? Did you realize that is accounting service? Accounting service, a lot of times, can be put in the back burner. Some of our business owners and look at accounting service as if they are unnecessary. They are decorative. They are, they're after fact thought. They're not something important. With pandemic, it probably already proved to you how important that is to have accounting done properly. Then your taxes can be done accurately. And then when you apply for PPP or RRF or shattered venue grants, everything you're looking for can be given to you timely. If you don't have that accounting service, you can't draw the map all the way to government funds. But of course, there would be people thinking, I saved that step. I'm just going to write down the number myself. I'm not going to do any accounting. I'm just going to think about what utility is going to cost me. I write. That eventually will come back to bite you. So I want to say to our small business owner that you can save everything you want to save, but do not save on professional services, or do not save on your time to put in to do proper accounting and the professional work, right? You either don't save money on that, also don't save your time on that if you are not paying money, right? And you know, I always say that time is money. And maybe when I don't have a lot of things to do, I don't understand that concept. But as a business owner, you understand the same way as I do. Time is money. If I don't hire someone to do that work, I have to do it. If I do it, I need to do as good of a job as the other person does, because that's what's required by the government. All right. And you cannot use EIDL loan for many other things like bonus to yourself and dividends. No, you cannot do that. And physical damages of your building, you do repair and stuff. No, not EIDL loan. And you cannot use EIDL loan to refinance your long-term debt. And you cannot use that to pay down SBA funds. You cannot use that to relocate your office and making a bigger office or whatever you're doing. So nothing like that. It is just for your operation. Just keep that in mind for your daily operation. Those are compliance matter, folks. It's not like I'm trying to give you a hard time, but you really need to make sure your accountant can back you up for those loans and the PPPs, IRF fund spent properly. Now, IRF, okay, some of the folks are already receiving that money, and that money is to use for restaurant operation. And don't think that you're gonna spend the money on some expansions. No, they're wanting you to pay back all the money you didn't pay, and pay your landlord and pay your worker, even though they don't have anything to do. Give them a paycheck so they don't have to stay on unemployment benefit. And remember, when we applied for RRF, what did we do? We calculated 2019 income. We calculate 2020. We use the subtraction to come up with how much money you're going to get on RRF. And you think those income are not subject to compliance review? You're wrong. And all of these income, all of this calculation of both years become a really important thing that you must be prepared. So you need to have a good accounting. You need to have an accurate tax filing that reflected your accounting. And you need to keep that, because it will come back, become audit item, because they want to make sure that you're not over-reporting 2019, under-reporting 2020, then trying to get more money from the government. I mean, audit, you know, obviously, audit, the word of audit means to look for problems. Okay, that's my way of Chinglish translation. Audit, just look for a problem, look for non-compliance. And otherwise, if there's no audit, people will be doing wrong things at free will. And with audit, people understand that they have responsibility. And of course, follow the audit is penalty. And we know just recently, we have a case coming in. This business owner was filing fraudulent tax returns, okay? Knowingly fraudulent. And so what kind of penalty they got? They got penalty for 5 years prison sentence or $10,000 penalty for every period they filed wrong. So that could be quarterly, okay, every quarter. So it's not worth it. By the time they accumulating your wrong filing, you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life. So this is where we want you to know compliance before you even start to report how you spend the government money. You know, pandemic has one thing that is foreign to a lot of small business owners, because you have never, ever been scrutinized by the government like this before. You will start seeing those kind of audit coming through. And sitting where we are, we know it is coming. In one day, yesterday in one day, there were 3 audit new clients walking into the door. And you think that's coincidence, or you think that is how the trend is going? right? The government don't have money. Everybody is carrying deficit. Why not audit some non-compliance people, get money to pay for the state spending, federal spending? I don't see that to be wrong. But then it is up to you to get yourself in order to meet with the requirement. So stay legally compliant, okay? And when you, with your business, you know what are the things you need to do. If you are in food industry, you know you need to be compliant with license, the requirement, permit requirement with the state, sales tax, compliant, and labor compliant. And also, if you're S corporation, make sure you have payroll. If you're LLC, and make sure you're filing tax return on time, and everybody got a K1, and they also report that properly. So those are hard-coded compliant requirement, right? And I want to also tell you that when you get audited, and when you don't like the result of it, okay, maybe you get audited and you didn't really know, you didn't want to hire community CPA to help you, and you went on by yourself, and the result came back, you're shocked and you don't agree. And then you do have a way out, not exactly out, but you have a way to appeal. So this is what we call appeals, and you can appeal. So I want you to know that there is no end to it unless you agree to it. So if you get audited, the result came back and shocked you, and then you can go for appeal. Okay, that's one way I want you to know. The other thing I want you to know is this watchdog and ombudsman, National Ombudsman Office. It is a watchdog office. So I don't know why ombudsman means watchdog, but I know that means watchdog. I don't relate. Maybe that's not English. I have so much trouble with English, so I myself speak Chinglish, so this word is a little beyond me. But I always know it is watchdog. Means that you actually, if you felt not being treated fairly, and you have a way to complain that, other than appeal, going through the process, you can also seek help from ombudsman office. So this ombudsman, the office of the National Ombudsman Office is they assist small businesses, and when they are subject to excessive enforcement by a federal agency. All right. Every state also have an ombudsman office. If you felt like you were subject to excess penalty and audit by the state agency, you can also complain there. So I want you to remember that word. If you just go search on internet, let's say if you are in Iowa, you go to ombudsman office in Iowa, that's where you can complain about the state agency. And if you go to office of National Ombudsman Office, you can complain about the federal agency. So I want to give you that so you know, and this is also a thing that you should keep in mind. We want to understand the system that in front of us, right? People have a right to audit you, you have a right to appeal. And if the audit was unfair, you have a right to complain to National Ombudsman Office or Ombudsman's Office in the state. And with IRS is a big deal, right? They audit us all the time, and everybody knows about IRS audit. The IRS audit also have a taxpayer right. If you read through these, basically, the IRS says that taxpayer, when I audit you, you can literally tell me what you like, because the right we put out will protect you. So you can ask IRS, why am I being audited? And you can ask IRS that, I like to see more paperwork that you did. How did you do my audit? And you can ask IRS that, tell me how much of amount I would be charged, and they would explain to you. And they want, you can tell IRS that I don't agree with you. I want to talk to your manager, and they let you talk to the manager. And I want to go to appeal. They want you to go to appeal. And I don't agree with appeal. I want to go to tax court. You can go to tax court, right? So there's layers and layers of ways for you to get the truth, for you to get a fair treatment and pay correct taxes. So you don't have to pay tips to IRS. All we do here is to make sure that you pay your fair share of the taxes. So we can have this public facility, we can have the public servant who's still working for the citizens, because if we all don't pay taxes, what are we gonna do? We won't have a country, right? And your information with the IRS is also public. And you can also request someone to represent you. If you just don't like the look, don't like to face the look of the auditor, don't want to show up in front of IRS, the IRS building just making you faint, then you can ask Community CPA, ask our staff to represent you, or ask your attorney to represent you. So you have a right to be represented, okay? So that is IRS. And the last 2 slides I have here is kind of want to show you that how long of years you have to keep your record, because now I got you so scared and you're worried about being audited. And now you say that, oh, Ying, how long do I have to be scared to get over with the worry I have for my 2020 tax return, let's say. So here are the years. Did you see the highlighted one? I highlight that for you because there's so many different years for specific subject. So in my practice, if I have to make things really, really, really simple, and I tell people the longest years. So look at IRS years and keep records for 3 years from the date you filed your original return, or 2 years from the date you paid the tax, which is later, whichever is later, which is the 3rd year, the 3 years is later, or 2 years is later. If you file a claim for credit or refund after you file your return, don't know I copied the right word. So 2 years from the date you paid taxes, 3 years from the date you file your original return, whichever lands on the date, the later date is the one that you need to keep. And keep record for 7 years. If you file claim for, like depreciation, things are related to multi-years, 7 years. So to make it really, really simple, for IRS record, for your income, expense, and payroll, all of these records, how many years are you gonna save? 7 years. Just leave it 7 years. Wouldn't that make your life simple, right? And I actually have taxpayer have their data, have their IRS data from 25 years ago. No, unless you want to make them a souvenir. Otherwise, you don't need to keep them for that long, right? What about SBA years? Because today we talked a lot about pandemic fundings and their SBA money, and they talk about 6 years, they talk about 5 years. So EID alone, they were saying 5 years, PPP, they were saying 6 years. Just to make it simple, you just remember it's 6 years. So keep everything related to SBA stuff, and for 6 years. If you can do that, then you're good, right? So this is where when you are not sure what document can be garbage, and you can do this. But in today's world, come on, folks, don't you scan all of your stuff electronically? And don't you save things electronically? We do. So there's no such thing about keeping or not keeping. It's all there. It's all in our server and stored. So I would encourage you to do that too. And why can't you just store everything and trash all the paper? Give yourself more space at home, right? Instead of buried by SBA and IRS required document. So hopefully this quick talk, 30 minutes, has really helped you kind of understand where we are in terms of compliance audit, and know that how many years you should keep them, and know where they're coming from, and know that the government are connected. So if you get audited by SBA, and the guaranteed IRS is helping, and if you get audited by the state, guaranteed the result will go to the federal. So you want to make sure that you keep record good for no matter what government is coming. So that way we can get through this pandemic, get through the compliance audit, and then live a normal life. However, I do want to say to folks, small business owners, and there is a easy way out to not think about it and just be passive, waiting for audit to happen. I'll deal with it. And okay, and nobody can tell you how to live your life. But I will tell you that only the business people who are serious with the compliance requirement would be a long-lasting business. If your goal is to make money this year and close next year, then I probably don't even know you. The people who are really doing business very seriously, they really want to pass the legacy to their children or build a business that serves the community and really have that big heart in their small heart. Those are the people and will care about compliance because they want to stay in business. So with that, I want to conclude today's webinar. Don't forget 3 p.m. every afternoon, including Saturday. And we are here to share what we know in the accounting money world. Hopefully that is going to enrich your thought and making you be more confident knowing that you can do it. And if you just follow what we say we want our clients to do, and you will be successful. I will tell you that out of Community CPA, I at least have 2 companies are becoming public companies. So they grow from home office, all the way to public company. So it is not a joke. It is not imagination. It is reality. But those people are the models to do everything right and to really relying on professionals to get it done right as well. All right. Nice to talk to all of you, and I see all of your name on here. Hopefully you enjoy my talk, and give me thumb up on the Facebook stream and also on YouTube. Put in your comments, and we really enjoy to have you online with us, and talk to you again. Bye-bye.